I'm Jamie Sewell, and this is my story. The first few years of my life were pretty much like most people's. They were excellent. I just grew up being told I was the smartest kid in the world, the most beautiful kid in the world, just amazing at everything. And then I started school, all of a sudden realised that my mum and dad weren't quite accurate in just how perfect and wonderful I was. Very, very quickly, teachers realised that I had learning difficulties. After a few years, I got diagnosed with dyslexia, but that was after years of just being in the bottom group for everything and failing continually. And it got me down quite a lot. But my home was incredibly, incredibly happy. And then when I was 7, that kind of turned on its head. Mum had always struggled with her mental health, but as a child, you don't really realise that. When I was 7, my mum got pregnant, and we were all really, really excited about having a new baby in the family. I woke up one morning and my dad was sitting by my bed and he was just crying, and he was just saying that my mum had lost the baby, and it was a real gut punch for all of us. And overnight, my home went from being a very, very happy place to being a very, very sad place. And then one day, my dad took me down to a martial arts club. It was one of the few things that I was good at in life, was having a scrap, and especially when my home was so unhappy, it just became a real outlet for me. Fighting did. I remember going in there and just fighting and learning all of the stuff, and I remember realising that I was good at something, and it was a huge thing for me in my life. In the midst of feeling useless and feeling unhappy, I suddenly found something that gave me some kind of meaning, something that I was good at. When I was 10, my mum had another baby. For us as a family, we really thought this next baby was going to solve everything, that this was the solution. We were going to be happy. We'd lost a baby that had made us unhappy. But sadly, it didn't take away this pain that my mum was suffering. It didn't really take away the pain and the mourning of that baby that had been lost. And this one night we walked around the block. My mum said to me something along the lines of, "I'm just really unhappy with life at the moment." To my ears, I was probably 11 at this point. I remember thinking that my mum wanted to take her own life, and thinking that I had to convince her not to. And when I got home, I went to my bedroom, and I remember I knelt down and I just prayed, just a real sincere prayer, and I just said, "Jesus, if you're real, we really, really need you. We really need you to come and do something, because I'm really scared. I'm really scared for my mum. I'm really scared for my little brother. I'm really scared for my whole family, and everything just feels pretty hopeless." And through just a number of coincidences, that following Sunday we happened to stumble upon a little Pentecostal church. We walked into this little church. I mean, I thought they were bonkers, but they had guitars and everybody had these kind of grins on their face that I remember just thinking, this is bizarre. And then they were playing their music and waving their hands in the air, and I remember thinking, this is weird, but at the same time finding it really attractive. I remember them sharing a message about Jesus, and it captured me. And I can't remember exactly what it was, but I remember it captured me, and I remember just having this real sense that I'd belonged in this place. And over the space of the next 2 years, God just started to do this amazing healing in my family, and I just fell more and more and more in love with Jesus. And I really captured this idea that God had a bigger plan for me personally than I had ever imagined. I remember really being captured by this idea of fighting the good fight, and I really felt challenged to stop fighting, to give up my first love, really. And so I remember talking with my youth leaders about it, and anyway, eventually I decided to give up Taekwondo. It was a moment where I basically said, I'm dying to everything that went before, and I'm starting in a new life, and actually I don't want to fight people anymore. I don't want to be angry, but I really want to love people, and I want to work on that. I went and did a gap year with a church, and when I was on this year out, I started working in a school, a junior school, and I was responsible for 8 young lads that were struggling. I really remember just God breaking my heart for their situation, and I remember looking at them and seeing some of myself in them and thinking, God's got so much more for you than you could ever imagine, and you could almost see the path laid out for them. And so I actually finished that year out feeling very, very passionate about working with youngsters who were failing in the education system. At the time, I didn't really realise how special it was. We ended up with over 100 young kids from the age of 4 all the way through to 16. Even though I had really taken this narrative that God has a plan for me, and really I kind of believe that God has a plan for me, I still have always really thought that I was stupid. Like that's been, that's my narrative. I've done work and been successful in work, but still always thought I was stupid. And that's something that's just journeyed with me. I thought there's no way I can do anything academic. My reading's not great, my writing's not great. And this call to train for ordination with the Church of England, this whisper, was just a terrifying one, really. I ended up bumping into a guy called Russell, who was heading up to Peter Stream, which is what HTB have started to help people explore ordination if they're not very academic, if they struggle with learning. I met up with him because I was interested in what the Peter Stream was doing, creating more opportunities on estates. He told me all about Peter Stream, and as I left, I just had this kind of this in my gut. I just knew that I needed to go back to him and say, I think maybe I should do Peter Stream. I'm really excited about being able to learn and combine my practical experience of doing mission and being involved with mission, being involved with discipleship. I'm really excited about being able to take that knowledge and incorporate it with some study. And I'm really excited about what God's got in store over the next few years of studying, excited about hopefully becoming a vicar at the end of this. So, yeah.